Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and today is going to be my day 3 recap. And as you can see, we have the Headhunter. But this one's not like normal, we got this one a pretty interesting way. We didn't get too lucky with our drops, so we had to kind of improvise and come up with a different strategy to get it early on. So, before we get into the Headhunter, I have respec my character from Rain of Arrows to Kinetic Blast. There's a few reasons for this, but the main one is that I didn't feel like the Rain of Arrows was using Headhunter very well, and I didn't feel like Rain of Arrows was just good enough for me. The main reason for this is if you look at Rain of Arrows and how it functions, and then you compare it to something like Tornado Shot and Kinetic Blast, the way it scales just isn't good enough. So Tornado Shot scales with a helmet enchant. It can go up to it goes from 3 arrows to 5 arrows. That's almost double the amount of arrows and coverage on the screen. Also, additional projectiles benefit Tornado Shot massively, so a Dying Sun or a +2 quiver is an incredible upgrade to your damage on single target and AoE. Kinetic Blast, on the other hand, projectiles, again, are going to increase your shotgun damage and pack damage. And Kinetic Blast inherently is just a very unfair skill. You can hit walls, which lets you kind of 5 times your damage. You can hit packs, obviously, and then it'll overlap with Pierce and just do tons of damage. Kinetic Blast in general is just very unbalanced at the moment, and when you look at a fairer skill like Rain of Arrows, when you scale that with a Dying Sun, with the Helmet Enchant, and with stuff like that, and Headhunter, it just doesn't get that same amount of juice. However, Rain of Arrows isn't useless, and it's definitely a good skill. So where it fits into the meta, in my opinion, is that you have two options when you get to maps. You can either go for a Rain of Arrows bow build if you want to get kind of progress as bows, or you can go with Kinetic Blast. So where Rain of Arrows is strong and where Kinetic Blast isn't, is that Rain of Arrows is very flexible. You can do all maps and all layouts and even do bosses pretty easily, right? You can look in, slot in Conk Effect and you'll be away and go to the races. Kinetic Blast, on the other hand, isn't as good. If you're playing pure Kinetic Blast, you need to be up against walls, and it can be very difficult to get bosses up against walls in most maps. So if you're progressing the Atlas, Kinetic Blast probably isn't the best thing, and if you are doing that, you're going to have to use something like Barrage, which will put you right up next to the target and in harm's way. And I don't like being next to the target, so it's a little bit difficult. I would probably go with Rain of Arrows again to level up and get my gear. It wasn't too bad, and it was pretty effective in my opinion. However, Kinetic Blast is obviously that option, but I believe that the Big Daddy Tornado Shot is what both of them transition into. So if you start off with Kinetic Blast, you'll eventually end up on Tornado Shot. If you start off on Rain of Arrows, you'll eventually add into Tornado Shot as well. Nothing comes close to the amount of scaling you get from gear as Tornado Shot. The Helmet Enchant, Dying Sun, just increases your map coverage by an immense amount and single target by so much more. It's so crazy. So yeah, Tornado Shot is the best build in my opinion. Kinetic Blast is also very powerful in indoor maps. And then Rain of Arrows is a nice alternative if you want something different or you want to play specifically with bows and have a very good all-rounding character before you get into that TS action. So that's going to be why I swapped and why I am Kinetic Blast right now. I don't have enough gear to do Tornado Shot yet, but I'll be looking into that soon. So, Headhunter, how did we get it? So, the thing that's a little bit different about this one is we got really unlucky, of course, as I said. We didn't get any big drops. I think we got we got 1 or 2 exiles yesterday when we were playing for a decent amount of time. So we woke up at about 1 p.m. and played to about 2 a.m. So that's 13 hours. We started off the day with 1 exalt and we got all the way to 47 exalts in one play session. So that was pretty incredible. Check out the Twitch VOD if you want to check that out, but it was really fun. So where did all this currency come from? It's actually funny. It came from the Chaos Recipe. I'd say about 2/3 of the Headhunter came from Chaos Recipe in total. And the way we did that is we would allocate different players with a system. So generally the Chaos Recipe, if you don't know, you need to collect one of each item in the inventory slots. So if you'll need an amulet, which is unidentified, a ring, 2 rings, which are unidentified, and obviously a belt unidentified, which is rare. And you just go down the list. Every item on the slot, apart from flasks, you'll need one of unidentified and rare. And if you sell all those to a vendor, you'll get 2 Chaos Orbs. So what we decided to set up is that we'd allocate different item slots to different players. So for example, I was boots and gloves. So I was picking up a ton of boots and gloves. Another guy was helms, and someone was chest pieces and all that good stuff. So we'd collect all these items and put them in our dome tabs and all that stuff. And after a bit of a play session, we'd trade them all to one person. And that one person would convert them and sell them all using the Chaos Recipe to the vendor. And that's how we got a lot of our Chaos Orbs. And that was really powerful, and it's specifically so powerful because in a group, and when you use increased item rarity, you'll notice after you do Alva Valai, which is the incursions in the map, it'll drop about like 50, 60, maybe even more rares. So if you pick up even a fraction of those, you're going to be making like 10 Chaos off one Alva in maps, and that stacks up very quickly. So in addition to the Chaos Recipe, we obviously had all the normal stuff which we get from maps, and that's pretty nice. So in terms of our strategy, we did actually do our strategy we set out to, which was down here, an Elder Bubble using like Cemetery and all this stuff over here, Wasteful, and it was super effective. There's no one who can say that it's not effective because we got a Headhunter out of it, and it was pretty good. Maybe there's more effective stuff than what we did, but it was pretty nice. So, but you'll notice I changed over here, and the reason for that is because I'm now playing Kinetic Blast, and Kinetic Blast is you need very different maps to run than Rain of Arrows. So you want indoor maps on KB, so you want like Waste, Pool, in Underground Sea, and all that stuff. So I'm going to move my Elder Bubble up to around this area. I've also learned that it's actually very easy to contain Elder, and you're not going to have too much trouble with him running around everywhere. You can kind of just do your maps, do like 12, 13, 14, 15 maps, and then just cut him off a little bit, and then do more maps. When you're doing the ping pong effect, he generally doesn't grow too much or move around, so that's pretty nice. There's a little bit of maintenance, but you get a lot of pack size density and those Elder and Shaper rares, which are really nice. So that's that. We're swapping over to be up here, and it's going to be pretty nice. So I'm going to talk about the temple quickly and briefly here. Doing more temples, I've now really discovered what is good and what is not. There'll be a video coming out for that, but just some quick tips. So in general, unless it's a loot room or a very specific event room, you don't want to be touching any T1 and 2 rooms. So if you've got your final temple here, you'll notice I got a bunch of T1 rooms. So Gemco's Workshop, that's not going to be worth it to go there. Splinter Research Lab, that one's pretty iffy as well. I wouldn't spend my time going to that. Jeweler's Workshop isn't worth it at any rank, it seems to me. And then obviously you got stuff like the Royal Meeting Room at T1. It doesn't really do anything. So yeah, you just got to pick and choose which ones you want to go to. Generally, I prioritize going to the storage warehouse, the map room, the sacrifice room, the Val room, and sometimes the breach room if it's linked up correctly. But yeah, there's a few that you want to go to and a few that you pretty much want to avoid. And once you learn those, you'll be good to go. And I'll be telling you guys in a video coming up. So that's that, my take on that. In terms of the Apex, the Omnitech doesn't seem to be too worth killing right now because all the uniques he drops are super saturated in the economy already. And the only things that he does drop which are worth a ton is 2 different vials, which are extremely rare. He drops the Vial of Sacrifice and the Vial of Ghosts. The Vial of Sacrifice is like 60 exalts right now, and the Ghosts is 5 exalts for the Flask and Amulet respectively. So that's going to be the temple. Expect a guide coming out on that, and a spreadsheet of course. So yeah, just to move on, I believe that this league is probably the best of PoE ever, and it's pretty damn fun. And in terms of going forward, what I'll be getting is some Venter's Gambles, probably a Shaped Amulet here. I want to get some Double Corrupted Sedemas, which 16% quad on it. As you can see here, I failed with this one. I need a Dying Sun and a few other good jewels and probably maybe some other stuff. We'll have to see. And then eventually I'm going to turn into Tornado Shot once I can get my 6th link, which I just couldn't do. I put like 1,500 fusings into a Windripper, which is a bit unfortunate. So that's going to be that. You can see here obviously my Chaos Recipe stuff, which is pretty cool. And you guys can look forward to, there's my map tab as well. You guys can look forward to more videos coming up. Another recap tomorrow, another stream tonight. Just going to be a short one. We're taking it easy today. And then obviously we have Bay Class coming up this weekend as well. I'll be on that if you guys want to check that out. Go to Taki Cat's channel. He's a really cool dude. Throw him a sub if you like him. But yeah, you guys can look forward to more videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers for watching as always. Like if you like, all that good stuff.